Put your foot on the gas, no, never stop competing. This is war with the enemy. Think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Perspective with Itu. Oh my God. Today we have a very special guest. Someone who has taken the South African internet by storm with their unique blend of humor and creativity. You may know him as Alfie Sipho online, a content creator who never fails to bring a smile to our faces. Alfie Sipho Mkhwanazi is a versatile creative with an unyielding passion for his craft. Not only does he excel at emceeing various celebratory events, but he also opens up and shares his authentic lived experiences on a variety of social media platforms. One of the key aspects that have contributed to Alfie's popularity is his digital content, which has amassed a massive and dedicated following, especially, darling, on platforms like TikTok. With his wit, humor, and relatable content, he's made a profound impact on the online community. Alfie Sipho is not just a content creator, no. His academic journey is also as equally impressive, as he has studied public relations and communications, brand management, and strategic communications at the University of Johannesburg. He has also honed his skills at the Vegas School of Advertising, specializing in brand innovation. Join us as we delve into the world of this multi-talented content creator, discussing his journey, inspirations, and the stories behind all the laughter. Guys, I think I'm going to laugh so much today. So I'm just like apologizing right now. Alfie, welcome to Perspective.
How are you, Itu?
Like, and now I'm already laughing. Like, one borrowed.
Man. Also, what were you reading? That's all such a lie. What a lie.
I can laugh.
I just sit in my bed. I sit in my bathtub and I record videos. I don't know, like you spoke about what you Vega, lived experience. Big words. Big words. Big words.
I can make it as Golong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
It's good to finally be here.
Right? Like,
It is.
I've been wanting, let me tell you, before I even got into contact with you, I think around March, April, I was like, guys, I want Alfie.
Sure.
I want Alfie on the show. I didn't know why, but like my spirit just wanted you on the show. And then eventually through, relationships that we have, I've now managed to get you on the show. Like, for me, it's such a privilege.
Thank God.
It's such a privilege.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sure.
Alfie, what do they call you at home?
They call me Sipho.
Sipho.
Yeah.
Say that, Sipho.
Just Sipho. Like, Sipho, my mom will call me Mfanaga Mamake. Or my grandmother will call me Mfanaga Koko. But generally, the standard consensus is Sipho.
Sipho.
Yes. Sipho.
So if you're in Paris and then somebody says, Sipho.
Yeah. I will know that they know me from home.
Okay.
Because people who know me from the socials will, of course, call me Alfie.
Alfie.
When somebody calls me Sipho, I immediately look because they know my mom.
Oh, I get you.
Huh? Okay, I'm being watched. If they call me Sipho, they know my mom. They're just like, where am I?
I was like, yeah, I'm being watched.
Yeah,
like,
definitely. Oh, you call me Sipho.
Yeah.
Then I know you know me from home. Yeah.
But I love the name Alfie.
And it's so crazy because the name Alfie in full is Alfie.
Yeah, it's Alfie.
And I mean, Alfie, guys, come on. Like,
you're like, no ways.
I was like, how did my mom consent to that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, how?
Yeah.
And it was just a name that I hardly used. But at school, they'd call you by, because it's actually my first name. Alfie is my first name. Fierce is my first mame. So they'd call me Alfie Sipho Mkhwanazi.
Oh.
And I hated it.
Yeah.
Until it was just a running joke, Alfie, 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 and Alfie is what we see today.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was just like, I think things changed when I Googled what it meant and the attributes that the name possessed and how I saw those relating to my life. And I was like, oh, actually, Alfie.
Oh, no.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, I love it. So, Alfie, I believe that the best way to know somebody is to know where that person is from.
Sure.
Right? You are from Daveyton.
Yes, I'm from Daveyton.
It's Hwatwa.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's Hwatwa. It's Hwatwa. What was life like then?
I had one of the most amazing childhoods because I just wanted to be in the streets. You know, I was full of streets.
Yeah.
I liked playing. I've always been adventurous. And I had a beautiful circle of friends that really, really just enjoyed being out and about. And we would walk, 20 kilometers to other places and go fight kids from other, hoods, and, it's just challenge.
Yeah.
And then it goes south and
Oh, gosh.
throwing hands. So I had a really great childhood. Started my schooling journey at a school called Benoni Junior, and then went to Willamore High School. Then there was Benoni West at some point, and then went on to UJ and all of that sort of stuff. But I come from a very small family. I had one sibling, my sister. We lost her 2 years ago. She passed away. So I'm left with my older cousin and my younger cousin. So yeah, I come from like a really nice small knit family, and it's beautiful. Sure.
And your mom and your dad?
I only met my dad actually, like my biological father, when I was 26.
Okay.
And it's a story I don't talk about. But I was raised by my stepdad from birth. He passed away, I think, when I was 9, 10, I think at the time. 9 or 10. Yeah, around there. Yeah, that's when he passed away. But I come from a very loving family. My mom is who we see on the socials, the ones watch.
Yeah.
Very shy and reserved. There are certain aspects of her that I exaggerate.
True.
But yeah, I come from lots of love.
Yeah. So growing up, did you think that your stepdad was your dad, or was that communicated to you?
No. So I sort of knew that I had my reservations. We got along like a house on fire. But at the back of my head, I was like, But it was never a thing. So it was never a point of discussion or something that also like shocked me when I finally found out. I wasn't taken aback. I wasn't even offended in any way. I was like, yeah, it is what it is. I moved on.
What conversations did you wish that you had with your real dad when you were growing up?
I don't have any sort of wishes of conversations that I would have wanted with him, because I had those with my stepdad, so I got to experience a father's love,
Sure.
And there was nothing that was missing, that I was like, oh yeah, I can't discuss this or can't discuss that. So there's no void in a sense that, oh my word, I wish I had spoken this.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think it's so beautiful when a step parent behaves like a proper parent.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
Like you felt like you could have those conversations with your stepdad. And I think a lot of people don't have that, where your stepdad, your stepmom, is like such a vicious
racist. Yeah.
right?
It's very racist.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people experience very harsh treatment from their step parents, and the stories you hear.
Sure, it's horrendous.
Words never liked us, or he never liked us, or all that sort of stuff. But by God's grace, I was treated like an egg.
Sure.
I was loved to the fullest.
Sure.
Sure.
I always say that and I hope I don't tread on people's toes here, but the reason why your stepdad was like that was because of your mom. You know what I mean? I mean, I am a step parent as well, and the relationship between me and my child is such a beautiful relationship because of the father.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So because the father could easily turn the child against me.
Of course.
The child could turn the dad against me.
Yes.
So it's just like such a roller coaster thing where she says, he says,
Yes.
but because of the dad who is like steadfast to say, you are my child, this is my wife,
Yes.
you guys are going to love each other, and whatever that you have, you guys need to sort it out. Yes, you know what I'm saying? So the child doesn't have that thing, let me go to my dad and say, oh, your wife, and then I'm like, oh, your child, because he's never given us that liberty.
Yes. Yeah.
To do that. You know, it's like marriage. Like when I always say that when the in-laws are getting involved, it's actually your partner's responsibility to break that. Yeah, say, listen, you are not going to treat my partner like this.
Sure.
But some partners are just like, oh, and then
Yeah, how was it?
yes,
You know?
nothing.
Teaser.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like stepdad relationships, stepmom relationships work best because of the person that is involved.
It takes a lot of emotional intelligence as well because to their defense, there are some individuals that are not aware of the intricacies and the technicalities. You know, some people just think things will sort of materialize on their own, like a beautiful relationship will just work out on its own. There are very few people who get the insight to realize that, oh yeah, if I want it to work out, I need to drive it. I need to champion it. I need to be the one who is keeping tabs and doing pulse checks to be like, okay, you are now my mother's child. Are you still fine? Are you happy with my family? You know, are there any concerns? And then also asking your child, that how are you finding the relationship with your new mom and all of that sort of stuff? So yeah.
So you mentioned that you don't really like want to talk about your like real dad thing.
Sure.
But when did you find out that you could reach out to him, and how was that feeling like for you?
I found out, I think, so my mom told me about my stepdad. I should have had a muffin. Sorry, I have ADHD, so my mind does. Anyway, my mom told me about my biological father on the passing of my stepdad.
Okay.
And it was chilled. We just left that conversation and it was chilled. However, I think I only reached out to him the first time when I was about to go to university. No, actually, it was before that when I think I had to do some procedure in hospital. Like, oh yeah, let me just reach out. But I realized I don't have a relationship with this person, so I'm just going to keep it at that. And it's fine. I have met him. And, you know, I know he lives and we're chilled, we're cool. But I think from a very young age, I decided with myself, Uti, if there is no relationship there, I'm not going to now try to go force one because, you know, you're told, no, you need to, you know, you guys need to, no, if it's not there, it will gradually happen if I wanted to and if he wants to. But other than that, I'm easy.
All right, people not push it. Did growing up with both of your parents, right, and your sibling, and then did any of that in any way, and being in this cruel society, affect your low self-esteem in any level when you were younger?
I think that I come from, in as much as I came from a loving family, matters of self-esteem are just so crazy because you could be so supported and so affirmed from your house and from where you come from, but you've got internal things that you have issues with that then contribute to how you project and how you process things. I do think that I did not necessarily grow up with a low self-esteem, but there were certain aspects where I used to like question my movements and the things that I did. Are these going to be acceptable? Is this fine? Is it okay?
Sure.
Am I doing too much or am I doing too little? You know? So, and I think anyone and everyone goes through that. And we all experience that as we find ourselves. And I think it never ends, actually. You know, it never ends. You could find yourself and find yourself completely. But because you are constantly changing, one, number two, and you're in a constantly changing and evolving world, there are certain aspects of yourself that you recalibrate as you grow as an individual. So I wouldn't say that I had low self-esteem, but I'd always second guess and question a few things and like, yeah, you know, like my talking, I talked, guys, I talked, and I'd always get into trouble because I had no filter. Like I'd rock up again, why not my kidneys flour snacks Marias? Means I'm in fresh on my bottle.
Yeah.
You know, like I was that sort of person. I'd get into trouble all the time. I would get into trouble all the time. I remember getting into trouble because I discussed somebody's pregnancy. And I mean, at this point, like, I'm 5'6". It's like, why not? I was that child. Even those are the conversations you're pouring at me. Now you rock up at my house. It's like, little do you know, by the way, now, you know, so I would get into so much trouble, but I didn't really anger my mom. Like, you know, my mom was also furious, like, why can't you just, why? Why did you have to say that?
And we can't say anything in front of you.
Why did you have to say that?
Yeah.
And because I was always opinionated also. So even at school, it was like, are you even qualified to teach us? You didn't know what you're here to teach. You know, so like my mom would be cold. So yeah. And because of like some of the reactions I'd get from people, and especially my mom, like my mom would be like, can you just please not?
Yeah.
You know, like, please not.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, that's how it was. That's how, and my family is also very opinionated, like about a whole lot of things.
Yeah.
They just keep it to themselves.
They just keep it to themselves.
You know how it's like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And I think that's what I wanted to say now, that we grow up in a particular manner.
Yes.
Because being truthful is actually a good thing.
It is.
Right?
It is.
But then society tells you so many times not to do that, that you end up sort of like shrinking yourself so that you can appease society.
Exactly.
And then that then shapes who you end up becoming.
Yes.
And you're not.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But,
yes.
but because people have told you so many times that, do that. So, how does that affect your identity as a person? Because if you are a particular person and people are saying, no, you shouldn't do this, how does that crush you? Because I know for me, for example, one thing that I loved when I was still healing, I loved kids, like you're saying, because kids like would be like, where's your hand?
Sure. People ask you the wildest.
Like, what's happening with your face? Like, why is your face like
Wow,
this?
imagine.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but I loved that because for me it was like, you see it, you recognize it, and you are saying, I see you.
Yes.
Explain.
I acknowledge you. Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I'm interested.
Yes. Right? And I want to know it.
Sure.
But again, society will say, no. Yeah. And I mean, I will call out those parents and I'll be like, no, but your child is asking because they genuinely want to know. And I think for me, that is a problem for me because then it affects how the child ends up becoming.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Sure. So how did that affect you as a person and your identity?
So I keep saying this as I keep on discovering and finding who Sipho is, who Alfie is. I, at first, would feel bad. Like, as I said, I was a motor mouth. You know, I used to talk a lot. So in some instances, I then decided to actually let me stop talking. But I realized, no, being muzzled is not. I couldn't do that because who I am is a speaker. That's what I do. I speak. But I also came to realize that we do not make the graduation in our heads because at first, those voices that tell you not to are voices of protection. If you think about it, they're really there to protect you from harm. Why? Because people know what has happened to opinionated people and how they're treated. Or as a child, as you're growing up, when you touch this and you touch that, that no is usually It's, it's a matter of protection. However, you then need to graduate in your head to understand that that voice of protection needs to be addressed to say, we're safe now. I'm okay now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay. I found my feet. I can do it, And only when you also do that, that voice will also then transform to say, actually, try it out.
Yeah.
So I had issues, and that's why I was talking to you about imposter syndrome the other day. I had issues with that because I was like, should I not?
Yeah.
But now I work hand in hand with that voice to say, we're safe. Do you think we should approach? Are you saying this from a place of safety, or are you saying it from a place of fear?
Yeah.
Sure. Is it the protection aspect, or is it the fear? Because if it's fear, no, we have to move.
Yeah.
We have to move. But if you're just saying this because it's guidance and it's protection, then
so
let's go.
Oh, sure. And we are going to talk more about the imposter syndrome there.
Sure.
But I think we touched on such a beautiful topic because I think we are currently living in a state, in a world where people don't want to hear the truth. You know what I mean? If you give your opinions on something, it's like, oh no, but no, you will be hated on. People will come for you.
Sure.
Oh, but no, and it's like, no, but it's my opinion.
Yeah.
Why must I be agreeing with everybody else?
Sure.
And also, we are living in a world where we are so fake that when the truth comes, it hurts so much that we reject it.
Yeah.
So we need people who are truthful. We need people who are like, oh, Itu girl.
But you know what I've also learned, Itu?
You know what?
Is the fact that the custodians of the truth, the people who do speak the truth, sometimes lack the tact. And that's why sometimes the truth is dispelled and people are apprehensive towards it. Just because you're speaking the truth doesn't mean you have to be clumsy with the truth.
Yeah.
Or not apply the necessary tact that is needed with the truth. Because if you're going to speak the truth, it must come from a place of love. And in some instances, we found so many times that somebody can say, oh no, but it's the truth, it's my opinion. But it was their tact. Are you tactful with how you use the truth? Because the truth can be very, very, very weaponized. You can weaponize the truth if you want to.
Yeah.
If you don't have the proper tact with it, it can be seen as a weapon. So I'm always for people speaking their opinion. I'm always for people speaking the truth because it is what sets us free at the end of the day.
Yeah.
However, if you do not exercise tact, I quickly rein you in to be like, nah. But you have to remember, we're not the same in how we process information, the traumas that people have been through. So sometimes you might just need to exercise a little bit more love when you speak.
Yeah. And that's very true. Like when we think about things like Twitter, for example, and like you're just like, but like, how can another human being say this to another human being? You know what I'm saying?
If it's the truth, but it's
yeah. It's like there's a way of like saying things to like people.
Yeah.
But I think we shouldn't discard people who are truthful. And who tell the truth. In fact, we all need people like that. We all need people like that who are like, Chami, no, my friend, let me just tell you. But do you think that you use humor to cope with what's happening inside of you? You know the aphorism that a lot of comedians use humor to shield their broken heart and like what's happening inside of them. And I mean, your name is Sipho, like we had mentioned, which means gift. And yes, you are a gift to the world, but are you a gift to yourself?
Oh, definitely. Oh, please. And yes, to answer your first question, then I'll answer your second question. Okay, let me answer your second question. I definitely am a gift to myself. Every single day when I wake up, I'm constantly in conversation with myself, so how I can heal that inner child.
Ooh.
And how I can speak to him and be like, hey, buddy, are you okay? You know, whatever little buddy wants, we just, you know, if Sipho wants this, he gets it, you know. We spend time healing that inner child.
Yeah.
However, I think that there is a symbiotic relationship in how I use humor. I definitely do use humor to sometimes address the things that I'm feeling inside. Every one of us has some form of sadness that we carry, or some form of, you know, whatever, mental illness, depression, what have you, right? However, for me, the beautiful aspect about it is that when I share that and how it's received, really there's an exchange that happens, and that's the exchange I look out for. When I'm doing what I'm doing and being myself and people are laughing, there's a certain aspect of me that finds healing. So it's not a placeholder or a way to deflect and not address, but it's that exchange to say, you are going through your own burden. Here's what I have to offer you so that I can ease your load a little. And you give me what you can give me so that I can ease my load a little. And we both move. Yeah. So I don't sit and think, I don't pack a joke, I'm probably just going to be hanging from a ceiling one day. No, at no point. But I also understand that I have to do what I do to continue living, because it's who I am.
I get you.
It's the essence of who I am.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, when did you realize that you could be a gift to yourself? Like you mentioned now that you will daily talk to yourself and say, hey, little Sipho, you're amazing, you're phenomenal, you are gifted, you're great, but like, when did that start for you and why?
I think it started from a young age, and it started in such an interesting way because even my social media career started the same way.
Okay.
I grew up, Ekaya, we did not have a bathtub. We did not have a bathtub inside the house. So we'd bath in part of our scope, right? So every time I'd go visit any of my friends that had bathtubs, I would fill up their tubs and just run their water behind. I didn't care. I'd walk around. If I knew I was going to do a sleepover at your house, I'd walk around with my bubble bath. But just give me the
worry.
Don't worry about me. I've got me. I'm fine. I'd be there with my bubble bath, fill up the tub and just sit in there, just enjoy the tub. And I still enjoy, like, I've come up with some of the most brilliant videos, the most brilliant ideas, brilliant strategies in the tub. Because the tub for me is a place of healing. So also because I'm in water, and that's where my spirit thrives. So that's where I picked it up. Which every time I'm sitting in the tub, something about being in here is just so comforting for me and to me. So I'd constantly do that. And when I got to varsity, then I had my own room that had a tub. So
Really?
yes, yeah.
Where's this?
At Res at UJ.
Where?
Broadcast courts, the Res. Definitely has it. And I got into a senior Res while I was still a junior.
You had your own bond.
Yeah, and we had tubs there, bruh. Broadcast court has got like beautiful, beautiful tubs. So we'd be there in my tub, whatnot, just chilling, wada, and it was like, of course I'd share it with, it's like, but at that time, people don't use tubs in varsity. But the only person who would just use that space to myself. And that's what I realized. Well, okay, sharp, this is what I'm going to do. And that was my form of healing.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my God, UJ, I have a problem.
What, did you go to the other races where you guys were in showers?
I was at Grensach, guys. Like there was like one bathroom and like we are all sharing it.
No, I was at Bantin Roroba, right next to the SABC. Next to the SABC.
Yeah.
It was called Broadcast Court. And I fought for that spot. I tried, I begged, God, please, that's the one.
That's where I belong.
That's the one I want.
That's where people like me should be at.
Yes.
Thank you.
And it's so interesting because in my head I thought, if I'm close to the SAPC, I don't know how and when I had the epiphany that I'm probably going to be in media, right? But in my head, I just thought, if I'm right next to the SAPC, there's something that's just going to constantly remind me of the end goal.
Sure.
That's constantly going to say to me, yes, in as much as you're here, you're at school and whatnot, but remember, the end goal is to end up somewhere here. And it's an ethos that I've carried with me all the time. I believe that if I want to occupy a space, go visit it.
Yes.
Go.
Yeah.
Just rock up.
Yeah.
Say hi.
Yes.
Even if you don't have anything to do.
Yeah.
I remember taking a cab to the OR Tambo International Airport. I had never taken a flight before.
Yeah.
I just went there. Bought a young Kenyana, drank it, and I was on my phone pretending. Oh yeah, so I'm supposed to connect at Heathrow, and then they said they're gonna connect me at 11, but our flight is delayed because and I do that, and I still do that. Because. When I pray, to God, okay, Father, I want to start catching flights.
Yeah, come on.
I know what an airport feels.
Yes,
I won't be a stranger to the environment. I remember I once just did a jog to the Urban Brew Studio, for example, and I was just there. Listen, and
like I'm
not hungry. But remember. I hope you guys can't pick it up on the mic. Can you pick it up? This is so wild.
No ska.
But anyway, don't worry. Suppose Sammy was grumbling the entire time. She said, concentration and not then.
Oh, so get the hell away. She said, oh, so. Oh, so it's that.
It's bringing back. So, went to the Urban Brew Studios, and I just got there, and I was like, okay, this is what they look like, and this is before they relocated. However, I needed to feel what that environment felt like. And after feeling that, this is now years later, probably a decade later, I now have my own show where I'm the host. And it's shot where? At Urban Brew. And when I got there, it wasn't foreign to the environment. And the environment accepted so much so that we got a second season. Because you now have calibrated your mind to understand you belong here. You belong here. Start acting like you belong here. But you won't act like you belong there if you've never been here. Because how do you know where the bathroom is? How do you know where to park? How do you know what to do?
Exactly.
That's just not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't manifest it because you haven't felt it. Yeah.
And we manifest things differently. Some people manifest things through writing. Some people manifest. I'm very visual.
Yes.
I need to touch it. I need to smell. I need to hear. So when I pray, I say, Father, I need this. I know what it sounds like when he finally gives it to me. I know it's gonna sound like this. When I'm there, I know I'm gonna feel like this.
Yeah.
And I'm there, you know. So it doesn't catch me by surprise. And I always say this to people who become successful or people who become great. And, you know, you may choose to differ. And a lot of people sometimes choose to differ. It doesn't catch you by surprise.
No.
It's just the timing.
Yeah.
Is when it happens, is when you're like, oh, it's happening, it's now. But the North Star doesn't catch you by surprise. From a very young age, they all know. If you check all of these successful people, something whispers in your ear. It tells you, Itu, this is the expectation. This is where you're going. Even now, as you're having conversations with us, there are things that are being spoken to you. We're not privy to. When they finally materialize, you might be shocked at the timing, but you're not shocked that it's happened. Because your DNA, everything about you has been fashioned.
Yeah.
It's your destiny. It has to go there. So you're not a foreigner to that place. You're introduced to it in small increments as you go along. But it's only you having to listen and pay attention, because that's your guiding voice that says, okay, not this right, take this left. Because your GPS your way to the North Star.
Yeah.
Alfie.
Come on now. Why not, man? But you know what? You and I are so similar, because with me as well, I manifest things like that.
Sure.
So UBH, I manifested it the same way. Everything that I've always wanted, I've manifested. I mean, I was sending a friend of mine a message the other day, and I was like, friend, so my friend Beyonce is asking for your shoe size because you're in hospital and she wants to send you a pair. And she was just like laughing. And then the other time she's like, friend, please come and see me here at the hospital. I'm like, oh no, I'm actually on my way now to LA.
Yes.
Because my friend wants to see me. Yes. Like, she's not okay. Do you know what I'm saying? So like, she just wants...
now, and like, Beyonce's going to be singing a song, yes, Fale.
Beyonce's going to be singing the song for me.
Sure.
And for me, it's always been, like, in my book, I wrote that Tyler Perry is going to make a movie from my story. And now I'm watching videos of Atlanta. I'm now watching videos of the studio. Exactly. And I'm like, oh, so this is where it's going to be shot. This is where it's going to be shot. Exactly. And you can see it, because now we live in such a beautiful world where you can access anything and anywhere in any part of the world with your phone, with your social media. If you want to see New York, I mean, I know New York. Exactly. And I've never been to it.
You can go to New York now.
But I know exactly where's what because of YouTube. Yes. Right? Yeah. There are New York videos all over YouTube. Yes. You just look for it. Yeah. It's there. And for me, it's just like, guys, whatever that you want in life, prophesy it, see it. Yeah. Right. I mean, like my job at UBS, for example, like friends like these, I would see as Sipho in that song, you wasting my time, stop wasting my time. And it's Sipho like, yeah. And I think I was in grade 11 at the time, and I'd always say to my cousin, Kazi, I'm going to work with that man. Yes. I'm going to work with that man. And she would laugh at me, like, what? Doesn't matter when I can't sing. Yeah. And lo and behold, in less than 3 years, I was working with Sipho at Face Like These. And then we moved to Metro, and I became his producer for a couple of years. But it's that thing again of like manifesting it, seeing it. Yes. You first see it, you're like, no, I actually see myself here. and then you go for it.
And you actualize it.
And then you go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's another thing that people have not really gotten to understand when it comes to manifesting. Once you've seen it,
Yeah.
you need to start working your way towards it. You need to figure out a path.
Yes.
You need to figure out a map.
Yeah.
And in the map, you need to put people's names that are going to get you closer to that, you know? And a lot of us like dreaming. It was like, no, I want to work with Trevor Noah. Like one person I've always wanted to work with is Trevor. And you build small incremental blogs. Okay, sharp. If I speak to Domi, or Itu's going to speak to Mamami, Mamang is going to speak to that person. That person is going to put me in the same room.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? And by the time you get to Trevor, if something says to Trevor, I've been expecting you.
Yes. Exactly.
He might not even realize why. He
Yeah.
might not even know why. And I'm sure when you met Sipho for the first time in a boardroom,
Yeah.
it was just like, and that's why you were able to formulate such a huge relationship for him to even take you to meet him, because he had been expecting you and part of his destiny in as much as he was
Spiritually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's how the manifestation happens. It's put in the ether. And once it's in the ether, you then now need to start moving your way towards it. And by the time you get there, you're not there by surprise.
You're not even excited. Like, you're just like, oh,
now I have to do it.
Khoneng.
Exactly.
Like, this is my chair. I've been waiting for this chair. You know what I mean? Oh, it's so beautiful. And I just want to say this before we move on. Hore, it doesn't matter where you are in that moment. Like when I was saying, I want to work with this man, I was in social media.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I was at home.
Yes. Yes. And it doesn't matter. Like it really doesn't matter. And that's the beauty of destiny.
Yes.
Doesn't matter where, and I don't want to make this biblical. But David is crowned king in the field.
Yeah.
Hasn't been to a mansion.
Hasn't been to a mansion.
Doesn't know what a palace looks like. Hasn't seen a throne. Doesn't even have a crown.
Yeah.
The king with sheep in the dust. Go twat.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But he's already crowned.
Exactly.
And that's how manifestation works. You've already been crowned that.
Yeah.
You already are doing that.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of you
So,
in keeping to that, focusing and then moving towards that.
yeah.
Yeah. And by the time he became king, or by the time he was established as king,
He wasn't shocked.
he was already operating as a king. And that's why when you read the book of Psalms, it's literally just testimonies, testimonies, because he's walked that journey to say, that's why I'm not shocked
Yes.
that the Lord is my shepherd.
Yeah.
Because I've seen him shepherd.
Oh.
You know, I've seen him walk with me. I've seen him do this. It's not by surprise. That's why I can confidently say, Kore, Mudimu,
Yes.
ke modisa wa ka."
Oh.
You know, so.
Oh. My God. Oh. Okay, well, let's bring it back to the conversation.
That's why I stopped. That's why I stopped.
Because it's already, we're going to preach out here.
Okay, we're moving.
Alfie, what type of conversations do you have with yourselves when you are alone? Ga gona phone, ga gona camera. There's nobody. It's just you, yourself, and you.
I think that from a conversation perspective, number one, I laugh at myself so much. Oh my word, I'm always dying and whatever it is, any day. But there's a huge aspect of purpose that I constantly have to keep reminding myself. And having to remind myself of that purpose, I also try to remind myself to pace myself. Because sometimes once you've sort of scratched the surface, is this how manifestation works? Is this what prayer does?
Yeah.
Then let's go.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes.
Meanwhile, you need to pace yourself.
Yes.
You need to take every step as it comes. Because now you realize, well, actually, if I want to, I can. But doesn't mean you're going to get there tomorrow. So those are the conversations that
Sorry, can I just stop you? Because, wow, guys. So, like, let me tell you. So, Jada Pinkett Smith, because she's still Smith, released her book called Worthy, right? And I was like, guys, I want on my podcast for this book.
Sure.
Let's have a conversation. And I think it's that thing again. You gotta pace yourself. You will eventually get to Jada Pinkett.
Yes, it's going to get there. And sometimes this is what happens, because now you have now put Jada as that thing. When you finally get there, God is like, you thought I've got this person. I've got this, who can speak like more hectically on that, I mean, there are so many things where I was like, I wanted that. God, I wanted that.
Yeah.
I really wanted that.
Sure.
But
It's not for
this one.
Yeah.
Not this one.
But now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then when he finally brings, what I think I've been asking for, I was like, actually, this one has your name.
Oh.
No one else can take this one. This one has got everything. It fits you.
Yeah.
Custom made. So it's for you.
Yeah.
And no one else is going to contend. They can't snatch it away.
Yes. Yeah.
Because sometimes when you get things prematurely, you don't know how to
Exactly.
use it, Exactly. I'll always say to people, I'm okay with playing with my toys, because once I'm given appliances, it's a completely different thing. You can't break an appliance. There's money associated to that. But when you're still able to play with your toys and figure things out and all that sort of stuff, by the time we give you a factory to run, then it's like, you've been doing this.
Yeah. Yes.
But the pacing yourself is very important. So those are some of the conversations that I have with myself. And I say to myself, in as much as you know that you're a gift and there's so much you have to do, and understanding my ministry. Now, my ministry is so beautiful. I have the most relaxed ministry that is so amazing. And in understanding that, I still have to pace myself.
So,
like, okay, Sharp, it's cool. It's good for you to be doing this, but still pace yourself.
Yeah.
Make sure that you take stock of where you are and understand it. Okay, what do I need to change? What do I need to improve on for me to get to where I'm going?
Yeah. Oof, I love it. I love the pacing yourself.
Yeah.
And learning to rely on God and saying, God, you lead me.
Yeah.
You must guide.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then 2021 comes.
Mm-hmm.
April.
Yeah.
And you lose your one and only sister.
Sure.
That you mentioned. And I just want to read you something quickly.
Okay.
You said, we are saying goodbye to my baby today, my only sister, the most annoying person I've ever met, stealer of my leftovers, demander of my salary, keeper of my heart, and my mom's most treasured gift.
Sure.
I haven't shed a tear. I still don't know how to respond. I still think this is some weird joke and everyone's in on it. I really don't know, hey. I want to hear her laugh. I want to shout at her for her laziness. For the first time, I actually want her to make noise and make everything a joke. All I want is her. I need so many answers.
Sure.
Please break this down for us.
I mean, I had one sister, and we lost her, and I'm still going through the grieving process of understanding the loss of my sister. And as much as we had to welcome it, because that's the unfortunate thing about death, death is just like, what are you gonna do? We have to move,
So,
but my relationship with my sister was such an interesting one, because we bickered about everything. We never saw eye to eye on anything, but we were each other's worlds.
So,
Like we were each other's worlds. So, at the time, I had no opportunity to cry. I had to manage the entire running of her service, going to shift her from the hospital morgue to, picking out her casket and all of that sort of stuff. That was all on me, and my mom was going through the most at the time. So there was no time for me to Because everything needed to happen. We were on the clock. And with our funerals, there's just so much. Mama beclose that about oh yes, often to discuss the play. So all of that sort of stuff. So that was, and I'm so shocked at where you found that. Because that one time, all the things that annoyed me the most about her were the things that I'd be so comfortable to experience right at that one moment, because it's like, actually, I'd rather deal with that than having you not being around.
So, and you said something very interesting. You said you haven't shed a tear. Have you been able to shed a tear?
Then I hadn't. This was April, May, June, July, August, 6 months down the line.
Sure.
I'm in a parking lot, man, and I'm gone to go buy. I can't remember what I was getting. It was something very stupid, very, very dumb. In a parking lot, all those emotions like came bashing in. And I was like, whoa. I think I sat there and I was bawling my eyes out. And ever since then, I'll have episodes where I remember then a year later or something, we were doing New Year's with my friends. And we were just playing a random song. And I was just, but I'm known for that also. I'm known to be an emotional person. Even when I'm at the peak of my happiness, I will just cry about anything and everything. So I have been able to cry and to process things and like, I miss that, because you lose a part of yourself. So you mourn that part. You mourn that part. So yes, I am crying because I also realized when it first happened that I can't do this because one day it will catch me when I need to show up, when I need to do what I need to do. I can't crumble at that moment. So that release really, really helped me to be able to process other releases. And unfortunately, it was a double barrel loss because, 7 days before my sister's passing,
your friend passed away.
My friend passed away, Dr. Sindi Van Zyl, who was just incredible to me. I mean, anyone who was at or on Twitter at the time, she was the one who introduced me to Twitter. So it was a crazy period for me, but we survived.
Now, when I read that to you as well, you said on the 10th of April, 2021, you lost your friend, Dr. Sindi. And then you said, I won't have the words for a really, really long time. And my question to you is, it's been 2 years now. Do you now have the words for her? And if I was Dr. Sindi, what would you say to me? Like,
I still don't have any words for her. I still don't. I honestly still don't have any words for her. However, I'm very glad that every time I sit and I take stock of what I've done, a lot of the things that we discussed, I want to try that out.
So,
and some of the things that I was too afraid to try, and so like, no man, you do it, And I said, anyone who was on Twitter at the time would know how Sindi would just push me forward, and push me and rub me in people's faces because I was still shy at the time, But now I'm just like, hey, bruh, remember I said I was going to do this? I did it. Remember I said I was going to do this? I did it. I still don't have any words to say to her. But I'm glad that I'm going down the checklist of items that I had promised myself and her to do and to achieve. And I'm sure she's sitting there with her little glass and bottle of champagne and she's just like,
yes,
that's how it's done.
Yes, done.
Yes, that's how it's done.
Do you think that that's how you deal with loss per se? And I want to make an example, man. So like with me, for example, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine and I was saying to her that I feel like also with pursuing success so much and with being so successful is also a way of also saying that, for example, that I haven't been seen all my life. Yeah. Therefore, now I'm gonna be seen by force. Yes. Like little on. Yeah. Like little kids who like a nama. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, yes, there's a beautiful way of being seen, which is I'm gonna be successful and I'm gonna make it work. But do we also then forget about dealing with that trauma? I was not seen for so long, and therefore I am like working my butt off
to be seen,
to be loved, to be heard, to be received, like by the world rather.
Oh, interesting question, and it's such a beautiful perspective and a way to view it. And I sometimes do have those experiences, especially from a financial perspective, because there were some things that we couldn't afford to buy because my mom really raised us with whatever she could raise us on. So now when I get something, at first it was now it's I'm getting it because I want it, and it's shocked. I'm happy to have it. Now it's I'm gonna get it, but I'm on. You know, there are instances though where I need to prove it to myself.
Sure.
Well, this one I need to rock because I this is what I wanted. I was in conversation with someone when it came to the world of work that I'm in now compared to the world of work I was in when I was still in corporate.
Yeah.
When I finally launched into the deep and decided, actually, I'm jumping ship and this is what I want to do. Every single time I achieve a milestone or an accolade, I always say to myself, I told them. I told them. I said this, you know. And therefore, I need to work hard because I need to prove it to not only them, but I need to prove it to myself, which this was the right move that I needed to take for me to be the best version of myself.
Sure. Oh, I love that.
And also, sorry, before you respond, I think the other things is that we're not patient with ourselves. You know, we take that as a bad feeling. When you feel like that, you see it as it's wrong. You shouldn't be feeling like that. For they're going to feel, no, that little baby needs healing. That little baby is crying to be seen. It is crying. So when you are doing that, it's healing it. So for you to act as though it's now a wrong thing, which you feel like that, no, be patient with those feelings. Be patient with those emotions to say, yes, you were crying to be seen. And now you are working extra hard to be seen, but you're safe now. You're safe. It's okay. You will be seen at the right time by the right people. You don't need to be seen by everyone, but you will be seen by the right people. Sure.
I think also for me, it was a matter of like when you haven't been seen for so many years, like for me, it was 19 years. And I was locking myself in the bedroom and, in the house, crying and weeping. For me, it's just like a way of like God literally picking you up from here and saying, from a person who used to lock themselves, you will now be here where I have brought you for my purpose, for my journey. And I think it's such a beautiful way of saying that with God, you can be anything you want to be. In fact, He knows what you are going to be even way before you even know it.
Sure.
And I mean, like when like people were like, oh my God, like what type of life will she have?
Sure.
Now people are like, wow, I can only see God. You know, do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I think that also like speaks volumes with your story as well, to say that you were here and then God said, no, here. And God uses the very same thing that was there to attack you. To say, no, actually, I'm going to elevate it. You know what I mean?
That's what God does. That's what God does. I say this about my voice. I was so insecure about my voice. I mean, you can hear what I sound like. And I have a full beard and a little pot belly. You do not know how many times I would walk into a venue.
Yeah.
And there's an audience and I hold the microphone and I say, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I am your host this evening, Sipho, Alfie, Mkhwanazi. And everyone's like,
yeah? Like, yeah, this is not.
or if I were to start a song and start singing, I mean, I'm sure you've heard videos of me singing. My voice does that.
Yeah.
My voice goes there and I start, yeah, money. Let's reduce her. And when I was growing up, those reactions made me sort of be afraid because of like, because I don't sound the way I should be sounding. You know, I don't sound like what I'm supposed to be sounding.
So,
but the second God sort of switched on the button to be like, this voice, this voice, we're going to use this voice. So make sure you get it together.
So
gather yourself when it comes to this voice, because this voice is going to open doors that you could have never imagined. This one voice that you're not trusting, I'm going to use that as the instrument that is going to be doing my bidding and my work.
So
my will is perfect for you. My plans are great for you. You're going to be sorted. But when I just trust the fact that I'm going to be using that one aspect that you were just not sure about, that you were like, and he's going to use that to glorify him. So that's why when you then, when I step on stages, people get so surprised when I get emotional. So I did a show once at Sunbet Arena, and I think that venue has the capacity of about 8,000 people. And I held the mic, and I had to introduce an artist. And there's always, when I'm on stage, there's always, my angel always taps me on the shoulder and says, remember we spoke about purpose?
So
you're here again. Welcome. Welcome to where you belong.
Yeah.
So my angel tapped me on the shoulder to be like, remember I told you about those crowds with the voice, with you being you. Remember? Told you? We're here again.
Yeah.
Welcome to where you belong. I got so emotional. I got so emotional. I was like, guys, I'm playing a big video. Because that reminder to say, remember, you didn't feel safe. You thought it's not the right time, or it's not this, or it's not that. Welcome. It's now the right time. Because Isaiah 60:22 says, the right time.
At the right time.
Not you. It's got nothing to do with you.
It's
got nothing to do with you. Whether when you are with your beard at the time, or you are employed, or you have all your limbs, or you haven't been in a traumatic situation. When it's his time, it says, hey, it's time. Hey, it's time to go. Exactly. So I enjoy that experience, because it keeps on reminding me, what a promise-keeping father.
Come on.
Because these are things I was promised.
Come on.
They're in my DNA. They're in me. I just didn't know I was going to. I mean, you said you closed yourself in for 19 years. Now you've got thousands and thousands of people who are sitting, waiting to hear. I wonder how it is going to be pouring into our spirit today. Instead of being the one who's locked themselves in, you are unlocking other people's doors now. That's what you do, because it's the right time.
It's the right time. But it's also freedom.
It's also freedom.
It's also freedom.
It's also freedom.
When you get to the place, I always say in my talks that freedom is when you couldn't even look at yourself in the mirror, and now you are looking at 10,000 of people on a daily basis, speaking and pouring inside of them because of who you are. You know what I mean? But I think also, like, this conversation is just like like guys, like, I might as well just close this laptop. Okay. I think for me, it's also a symbol of God saying, who do you think you are
Yes.
that you think that I can't use?
They shouldn't. And that's why David goes back and says, what is man?
Yeah. Because I brought you here.
Yeah.
Not you. I brought you here as God.
Nothing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where he says, for I formed you in your mother's womb way before you were even born. So he knew as the author and the finisher of our faith.
Yes.
And now what God does, which I love, is that he sort of like spits in people's faces.
Yes.
Like, po.
Yeah.
No.
It's like this is what I want.
Yeah.
You guys thought.
You guys thought. You thought that you need a base.
You thought it.
You thought that you need.
That's the problem. You thought it.
You thought it.
Would you want to know?
That you needed this voice.
See,
according
I am
to
doing a new things.
According to
whose standards?
According to whose standards?
And if he decides it,
Yeah.
and he's author,
Yeah.
and finisher,
And finisher.
who else needs to approve? Even you don't get a say.
Even yes.
Even you.
Yes.
don't
Even
get a
you.
say. When Mudimu starts lifting you up,
Yeah.
you don't have a say.
Yeah.
You're saying,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not time yet.
Happy like rarera noise.
Right. Also, what's going on there? And Mudimu, how?
Now I'm upset
I'm so upset at God.
because this is the first time I'm having such a conversation.
That's supposed to be a sermon. I'm like, what?
Like it's always like a beautiful, emotional service.
I'm trying to reel
Like,
myself back in.
conversation where like my guests are always crying, and now we are here laughing, and I'm just like, wow,
wine.
like I'm like, what's happening?
Bula wine.
Once and for all, I'm just like, hi man, but why is this conversation going left?
We need you, the Meister.
Oh
Honestly.
my goodness! But I think it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful that God is leading the conversations to where He's leading them.
And we're just vessels.
Because do you know how many people are not reaching their full potential because of what they think they lack?
Exactly.
Of what society said.
Yes.
This is what you should have for you to be able to be here. Exactly. And now people are just like still looking themselves, in the mirror. And now when they hear such conversations, they're like, if he can do it, if she can do it, then so can I.
Exactly.
And I'm like, guys, I'll be here and I won't put on makeup.
Sure.
I will not.
Sure.
Because I'm trying to show that 16-year-old girl at home to say that you're beautiful. You are stunning just the way you are. You don't need makeup. You don't need red lipstick. You don't need a lot of... You are beautiful.
You are adequate.
You are adequate. You are enough. You are phenomenal.
Yes.
You are amazing. Do you know that God knitted you when you were still in your mother's womb? He masterpieced you in that womb. God.
And we question that.
The sovereign one.
Yeah.
And you're here demeaning it. Ooh.
We question it so much because you're like, nah, what about, You don't understand it. You're made by the maker of all things. So there's no way you're wrong. But also, I mean, really cheap.
I mean,
I understand it, like we're lying, but I mean,
do you know what I mean? But I think it's so beautiful, Alfie, because we are saying, who said? Who said this is the status quo? Who said this is the format?
Mm-hmm.
Who said that?
Who says this is a deciding factor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who said that? And I mean, you are here emceeing events on a daily basis.
Yes.
You are touching lives. You're reaching lives. You're making people laugh. Like I was saying to you now that I almost got into an accident this morning because I was watching one of your videos. And I was just like laughing so much that I even forgot that I was driving.
Sure.
And I was just like, oh my God. And I'm like, guys, first of all, don't use your phones when you're driving, okay? But definitely don't watch Alfie's videos when you're driving. No, please don't do that. But that's where it comes from, right? Where it says that I am healing you to bring healing to others.
To bring healing to others.
And, I am saying, Horin, and this will lead me to my next question. Like, we need to, center ourselves. That that I have been healed to heal, right? And you have been healed to be the person that you are, confident in saying, I'm great, I'm phenomenal, I'm amazing, so that other people can look at your life and say, I am him, I am Alfie, and Alfie is me, and I am going to go, and I'm going to go and reach my full purpose and potential in my own life. You know what I mean?
We go through that, man. And you said something, and I'm going to paraphrase earlier, definitely along those lines. We go through what we go through to become the champions of and the victors that will need to become at a later stage.
Yeah.
But you can't expect to speak of victory when you didn't have to fight.
Yeah. Ooh.
You know, and fighting means fighting society, fighting norms, fighting sometimes friends, your spouse,
The family.
your friends, sometimes even yourself. Sometimes the fight has to be with yourself.
Yeah.
Sometimes also you'll find yourself in fights with God. I don't know how many times I've sat with God and I say to him, we're going to square up with him.
Yeah.
No me, you know. I think as a people and anyone who has a relationship with God, and that's why I say my ministry and my relationship with Christ is so beautiful, because I'm able to have those conversations with him. Like, bro, you had one job, you know. And it's like, no, man, peace. Just
relax. It's not about you.
You know.
Yeah.
So sometimes you will fight God while you're fighting yourself, while you're fighting everything. But you can't call yourself a victor if you never had to fight.
Yeah. Oof. And that leads me to my next question. What conversations are you having with your mom after your sister's death?
I think my biggest priority is to make her the happiest woman on earth. That's my biggest priority. So I'm concerned about her health, her safety, her well-being, her happiness, and her constant joy. Those are the constant things. So every time I reach out and speak to my mom, or I'm calling her about something, at the back of my mind, I'm like, the priority is to make sure that she is the most happiest person on earth. So that's what I strive towards. And even in how I emulate her and how I portray her, she's constantly festive, she's opinionated, she's just running the show. Because sometimes I use those videos to show her, which this is how I see you.
Sure.
I see you as huge. Mom's boss is now, she's no longer that lady who lost her daughter. That lady was involved in an accident, you know. That lady who went through whatever she went through. Mom's boss is now a household name. She's a brand.
Yeah.
She takes on campaigns if she wants to. If she wants to speak to an audience, she does that. But I do it for her, to show her what this is how I see you. When I look at you, this is what I see. So I enjoy having that sort of exchange with her.
Yeah. Oof. When are we gonna see Alfie outside of you acting like Swash?
You see him all the time.
Okay.
I mean, this is him. Outside of Mom's Wash, you can immediately pick up on that distinction. When I'm being with Mom's Wash and when I'm being with us, and those two are very intertwined. I don't think at any point in my life will you ever not be able to pick up traces of a Mom's Wash in me. I am a Mom's Wash. I come from her. I always say to her, you've got one of the most brilliant wolves. When you bake, your stove doesn't care about or one stove, the almost stove.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm talking about her because I mean, you know.
Yeah.
So you will always pick up on traces of her everywhere and all of that sort of stuff, because I am her. She is me. I am a sort of like an extension of her, and I enjoy that. Yeah. So you can definitely see what's okay. Now this is Alfie, and when I decide to just rope her in, that's just me doing what I do.
Yeah. We want to also talk about your anxiety. Yeah. Did the loss of Dr. Sindi and your sister, was that what triggered your anxiety? Kappa, like, was it something else?
So I don't know when I started feeling anxious. I just know that because I've always been a hyperactive child, quite often I'd have to sort of rein myself in, sit myself down to be like, okay, breathe, buddy. Like, you can't be an energy bunny where now
All the time.
Sonic the Hedgehog, calm down.
Yeah.
And I think maybe then I couldn't articulate it or be able to identify, which actually this is a form of anxiety presenting itself. I think, yes, definitely the loss of Dr. Sindi and the loss of my sister aggravated it quite considerably, because there are so many things, this was my first stint that was so close when it came to death. So that trauma was just so foreign to me. I didn't know about it. And for it to hit on two blows, it was okay.
Same month.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In a space of a week, you know? So it was, but also the anxiety then around it then comes with, my mom has lost a daughter. I mean, my mom was not a very, sometimes she's sickly in my mom. Now my mom is brilliant health. When we grew up with a very sickly mom, just my mom had this or that or whatnot. So all of that just, became a little bit of a concern, which I wonder, is she fine? Is she okay? Because sometimes Muntu will say that they're okay, and then, they are not really telling you because they don't want to worry you, So yeah, definitely. But also, we don't talk about the anxiety that comes with you wanting to achieve the trueness of your purpose and the fullness of it. Anyone who's got a purpose on their life can never tell me that they don't get anxious. Because you understand the importance of what you have to do. You understand the importance of you having to show up. So that understanding that importance makes you realize that there's a responsibility in the role that you play. And you have to play it in a specific way. So naturally, you're like, all of this responsibility and this pressure, then that sometimes turns itself into anxiety. Because that purpose wants to unearth it.
Yes. Yeah.
So quite a lot of people who have a purpose on their life
have got anxiety.
They do have anxiety. And that's just my opinion. I think it just comes in age. But it's you having to know how to use your anxiety to your advantage.
Yeah.
How to know, okay, Shab, I'm going to use this anxiety to propel me into getting what I want. Or I'm going to use this anxiety to just make me shut down.
And feel sorry for myself.
And feel sorry for myself.
Yeah.
So it comes with the territory.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have your moments where you're like, you do. We all have those moments because you understand why what you do is so important, why you have to do it.
Yeah.
There are days you probably don't even feel like recording.
Yeah.
You don't feel like doing anything, but you have to wake up and go, I have to get it together. I have to do it. I have to do it.
Yeah. I got to do what I got to do.
What I have to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. When was the last time you cried?
Probably this morning. Now I start off my day with worship. I drop. I'm actually even surprised that I haven't cried. Like in our conversation, I cry. I'm one person who enjoys crying. I enjoy it. Like I enjoy crying. So at any given, I can get triggered by any, and sometimes not even triggered. I'm just, I just have too much water in me. Like, let me cry it out.
Yeah.
So, I probably cried this morning. I cry a lot. I cry a lot. I could be crying because I'm sad. I could be crying because I'm too excited. Like when I'm very happy about something, like I cry, you know. I know for a fact that when I'm sitting and reflecting about this conversation, I'm like, oof, thank you so much, because there are so many things that are being said to me that you are not necessarily articulating. But there are so many things that are saying, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine. Yeah. So when I reflect, I'm definitely going to be like, you know, I might cry. My friends will tell you, my mom will tell you, my family will tell you. It's like, okay, what kind of life? My grandmother, and I say this from my grandmother. Yeah. My grandmother, it's the woman, anything, just like, yes, you say me, yes. I was like, I mean,
like, always crying.
Always crying. But I find a lot of strength in crying, because that helps me process up. Like when I'm upset about something and I don't cry about it, I know we're in danger.
Yeah.
No. I need to let it out, because that is my way of processing and navigating.
There's definitely power in crying. I'm also like Oompa, for sure. Like when something affects me, I will cry.
Sure.
Like let it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cleanse your soul. You know? So you've got 10 fingers.
Yeah. Oh, more than yours.
I'd be like, whatever. You've got 10 fingers and you've got 2 hands. Are you reaching your full potential?
I am trying. I don't think I've gotten to my full potential yet. I think we've got a long way to go.
Yeah.
But I'm constantly trying. I'm trying. I'm trying my best. I am constantly trying. You are actually fortunate, because you don't even need your fingers and your arms.
Yeah.
The strides that you've made, without your arms, without your fingers.
Yeah.
I mean, then I have to sit in front of people like you to say, who actually didn't even need her fingers, and this is what she's done. I'm just like, oof. Yeah, you need to get to work, buddy. We need to get to work, because that also is just a sort of a driving factor to me. Like, there's stuff to be done.
Yeah.
The field is huge.
Yeah.
It needs people.
It needs laborers. But that's the purpose.
It's the purpose.
Yeah, it's the purpose. And we have now come to the end of our... Yeah. So now we are in the last segment.
Sure.
Where I'm going to ask you, what is your perspective on things? Yeah? 1, what is your perspective on spirituality?
I think spirituality is very broad. Spirituality is very personal. And so many of the things that we've been taught are right, sometimes are not necessarily right. And once you get to understand that, then you navigate a little better, because you really don't have time to be guarding or checking or monitoring how other people are handling their spirituality, because you realize how full your plate.
Yes.
Because you still have to deal with this. Tons of delaying butternut is also waiting for you. There's 2 drumsticks here, and there's some beef, and there's this. You realize that when you, and that's why I mean, and that's why I always say, my relationship with my God, my relationship with my Christ, because I understand how personal spirituality is.
What is your perspective on freedom?
I think freedom starts within, before it's seen outside. As a Black nation, we first had to see ourselves free before we became free. And even though we have been, or we are free, there's still aspects of freedom that we need to tap into that we haven't discovered. So you need to first see freedom. You need to experience freedom within you. And you will then realize that actually the world will catch up
Yeah.
Your outer environment will catch up.
Yeah.
Because it won't be able to contain you. If you're free inside, the world can't contain you.
Yes.
It won't. Like, even when you walk into a room,
Yeah.
we can pick up immediately what is free.
Yeah.
It's huge. You can be as small as a bottle, walk in. But if you're free, you just immediately fill up the space.
Oh.
And some people who aren't free see it as a threat.
Yes.
Why? How come?
Yeah.
Why am big?
Yeah.
Why did he say that? Why is he so cocky? Why does he have so much to say?
Yeah.
It's free.
Oh.
It's free, you know? And if you have an issue with that, you need to question how you see your freedom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's my perspective of
Yeah.
freedom.
Oh, I love it. What is your perspective on power?
I think my perspective on power is very experimental. You don't necessarily know how much power you have until you have to use it.
Oof.
And there's been a lot of instances where we think we're not powerful enough to change things.
Yeah.
Or we do not have the resources or the capacity or whatever it is, because we just refuse to use that power, or we're afraid to use that power, or we don't know how to use that power. It's very experimental.
Yeah.
Power is almost like fire,
Sure.
you know. You play around with it, you can light up the fireplace and whatnot. Play around with it, you can burn an entire field. You play around with it, you could explode a huge factory. If you know how to use it to your advantage, however, you can have fire working towards. I mean, ask farmers. Farmers will tell you they are completely afraid of fire, but they use it to their advantage. A farmer who's smart knows how to use fire to their advantage. You think fire in a farm, manic, you know? A farmer knows what to do with fire. And that's the exact same thing when it comes to power.
Oof. Love it. What is your perspective on identity?
Oof. Identity on us very tricky, because so many factors contribute to identity before you get to have a say. So quite often, there's a lot of unlearning that you have to do when it comes to identity before you can actually establish identity. So what you know as identity is, in most cases, not what your identity is. You spend all of your life having to unlearn in order for you to figure out your identity. So like those 19 years of you, it's the unlearning. No, itu apa? You have to unlearn all of those things. And you then formulate new aspects of your identity as you grow. So identity is a tricky one. It's a tricky one.
What is your perspective on love?
Well, my perspective on love, money.
Wow.
Kidding. I think my perspective on love is the fact that it's the base and the foundation of everything. You do what you do because you love the aspect of healing that you bring into people's homes, into people's lives. You know, I do what I do because I just love the fact that, you know, when I sit down and I think to myself, you know what, I was just joking around with the national anthem, for example. But for me, it was a joke. Then somebody goes and comments like I see the comments sometimes that are posted on my videos where somebody says, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you ministered to me." I'm like, yeah, I was joking. I was kidding. But because you were walking, or they call it kabelonga. Mudim was able to. So that's what love is for me. It's loving myself, it's loving other people, and just being in love and
I want you to please take that mirror over there, right next to you.
Hey, what's up?
I think it's the other way around.
Because it's the other way around. No, I know my face is huge here. Oh, can I please have this?
Alfie, I started seeing my beauty when I stopped looking at myself and I started seeing me. What do you see when you look into that mirror?
I see adequacy, sufficiency, enough. I see the beauty of God. I see the love of God. I see God. I really do see God. When I'm looking at the mirror, I'm seeing someone who has so much to fix, but they're on the right way.
Sure.
They are on the right path, and they are on their way to it, and that is enough.
Sure.
That's enough. It's enough. It's worth a fighting chance. For you to still be able to identify your shortcomings, or these blemishes, this, that. I haven't done this. I haven't gotten to that, whatnot. However, I'm on the right path. I'm doing it, and that is enough.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. This episode was made possible by Same View Pictures with their state-of-the-art equipment, as well as Vela Creatives with their beautiful and phenomenal post-production. So, if you are looking for any of this, you can catch them on Instagram, as well as on Twitter, as well as on Facebook. And this episode is powered by IS Wines. Alfie, I know you have a very, very busy schedule. So this camera, please tell the people what you have going on, and also just share with them what you've the event that you have on the 18th of November.
I think that we're going to see a whole lot of Alfie in a whole lot of screens, not just phone screens, but the big screens, and we're definitely going to be hearing his voice on the airways. However, there's one thing that I decided to do, and I thought to myself, it's good to give thanks. It's good to say thank you. And I think this conversation has also just reminded me that, say thank you. So we're having a Thanksgiving edition. It's a Thanksgiving event at Kempton Park, the Fortress venue. It's on the 18th of November. And I've got my amazing sisters and brothers that are going to be there for me. We've got Brenda Mtambo's coming through. We've got Lamise Holworthy on the decks. Joy Human, Duduma Koba, Sipho. And we've got beautiful guests. I know you're going to be there.
Yes.
I know you're going to be there.
Yeah.
So we're just going to be there giving thanks. Giving thanks to each other.
Yay.
Giving thanks to God. Giving thanks to ourselves. Thank ourselves.
Yeah.
We work so hard, but we don't thank ourselves. So the 18th of November is the Believers Base Thanksgiving edition, where we're just going to be sitting there as a tribe, picnic set, giving.
Mkhwanazi, man.
Also, Mom Swash is going to be there also.
Yeah.
She definitely is going to be there, but so I'm can't wait to see you guys.
Oh my God. Alfie, what a beautiful conversation.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for opening doors that I wasn't sure about.
So,
thank you for affirming things that I thought only happened in my head.
Yeah.
It's always good to hear somebody sort of resonate with what you are thinking.
Yeah.
But also thank you just for loosening loads, man.
Yeah.
I feel so much lighter.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
and now I'm actually hungry.
Well, let's close this then, Alfie, a candle tried to burn me. It also tried to ruin me. But that very same candle lives within me.
Ooh.
And I'd like to say, Alfie, keep shining.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I shall try.
Yeah.
And every time my candle needs lighting, I'll come back to you.
Yes.
So that you can use yours to shine up mine.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And from me, Mrs. Itumeleng Sikubedi, keep your perspective alive.
Mwah. Oh.